On March 10, 1993, Adolfo Bresciano, also known as Dino Bravo, a Canadian former WWF wrestler, was found shot dead at the age of 44. He was hit by 11 bullets in the head and torso at his Vermont Laval, Quebec home. His alleged role in illegal cigarette smuggling in Canada is popularly believed to have led to his death. Dino had painted himself into a corner. He tried to stay in what was then the WWF, but he just couldn't. Vince didn't want to have him back. I remember I called Pat Patterson and I suggested that I team up with Dino because I liked him. I said, I'll take the bumps and all the moving around and he can do the strong stuff. I'm sure we can make it work, you know? He said, no, we just think that Dino doesn't fit anymore in our plans. Dino liked the high lifestyle. He had a sports Mercedes and a big home, you know? Then suddenly wrestling was over. Dino couldn't be a 9-to-5 guy. He didn't have any business experience of any kind. Wrestling was his whole life, and back then WWF was the only game in town, so if he couldn't do it for the WWF, what could he do? His uncle, by marriage, was the head of the mafia in Montreal. He was always saying, Dino, come work for me. The Catroni family was a part of the Renano crime family branch out in Montreal, one of the 5 families that dominated organised crime activities in New York City and beyond. Within wrestling, it was often rumoured that Bravo's name was linked to the Montreal underworld. His Aunt Maria was the wife of Vic Catroni, who had a reputation for being Montreal's leading mob godfather. Dino Bravo often worked as a chauffeur for Paul Catroni, a relative of Vic's, reportedly a member of the powerful underworld family. Rumours only got stronger when Gino Brito, his partner in several businesses including the local regional wrestling office, was arrested as part of a loan sharking ring. I remember we were in Europe, Martel continued, and he confided in me, Rick, I know I could go into crime and make really good money, but I don't want to go that route. I know myself and I know what kind of guy I am. Dino was the kind of guy who always wanted more and more. He knew himself and he knew his demons, but then his debts and lifestyle got too much. I remember the breaking point for him was when he had to go and borrow money from his mom. That was too much for his pride to take. And back then, in the early 90s, the illegal cigarette trafficking in Canada started. A lot of people were doing it. So, Dino got into that. He went to see the Indians. The Indians had the river, so they could pass cigarettes across like crazy, or arms, or whatever. And the Indians were big wrestling fans, you know? So when they saw Dino, they were like, oh man! They started dealing strictly with him. So Dino had a monopoly with the Indians. He started doing really well. After a while, the cigarette business was doing so great that the cocaine people started saying, hey, maybe there's some money in there for us too. So, the big cocaine guy apparently went to see Dino and said, look, let me in on your cigarette deals and I'll let you in on some cocaine deals. So what apparently happened is they did some kind of agreement. Dino had a $400,000 shipment in some warehouse somewhere and it stayed there for like 3 days. On the 3rd day, when the cocaine guy went to pick it up, the police were already there. So, they were blaming each other. Dino was saying, you should have picked it up on the 1st day and it would never have happened. You shouldn't have let it sit there. There was a lot of heat on Dino. This was a week before he died. It was a Wednesday. His wife and his daughter went to ballet lessons and he was watching hockey on TV. His wife found him later that night. She had his daughter in her arms. Luckily, thank God, the daughter was sleeping, so she didn't see her dad. There was blood everywhere on the ceiling. It was horrible. They'd pumped 10 bullets in his head. One of the rumours spread over the years was that the shooter tried to shoot a happy face in the back of his head, which is absolutely terrible. Martel continued, there was no force of entry in the house. It was the winter, so you could see there would have been footprints in the snow outside, but there were none. They had somebody, an inside person. It was probably somebody watching hockey with him and said, hey look Dino, I'm going to the bathroom. They shot him from behind. The detective told us that the remote control was loose in his hand. They say if they shot you from the front, you would see it coming and tense your muscles as he would have gripped the remote control tightly at the point of death. So they shot him from behind, he didn't see it coming. The homicide of Dino Bravo, real name Adolfo Bresciano, is still unsolved. Bresciano's remains are in a mausoleum at Notre Dame-des-Neiges Cemetery in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.